edition of the Contractor's Secret Weapon weekly podcast with your hosts, Dave Negri. This program is dedicated to helping contractors, remodelers, painters, roofers, roof cleaners, and business owners in the construction industry gain an unfair advantage over the competition. This program supplies you with information that the competition doesn't even know exists. This session brought to you by ContractorsSecretWeapon.com.
Before we get into the conversation with you, I just want to do a shout out to our sponsors who help promote Contractor's Secret Weapon and just some of the things that they have in store for you, our listeners. Hey, is your phone ringing enough? Do you want it to ring more with highly motivated and qualified buyers that contact you, the contractor, directly? No more waiting for the phone to ring. Just answer that phone. Best Home Services leads are dedicated to making your phone ring with motivated buyers that call you directly. There's no obligation to talk with them. Just go to ContractorSecretWeapon.com/money. Fill out the form to secure your discount on the setup fee. Do it today. This special will not last forever. Check them out at ContractorSecretWeapon.com/money.
Running a small business is no easy task, and I should know because I had a service company for almost 10 years. I am the founder of a software called Radius Bomb, and it's unbelievable. And for all the listeners of Contractor's Secret Weapon, we have a special offer for you to check out. If you want to send hyper-targeted, laser-focused, super personalized postcards to your exact prospects using a map while sitting in your underwear, then go to ContractorSecretWeapon.com/Radius Bomb, and we'll give you your first 100 postcards for free. Just go to ContractorSecretWeapon.com/Radius Bomb.
Hey, welcome to another episode of Contractor's Secret Weapon. This is Dave Negri, your host, and today I have an amazing, passionate guy with us today. His name is Scott Hansen. He's a business and marketing strategist. He's a sought-after speaker, and he's a podcast host. Scott is a creator of Unlimited Success System, a high-performance coaching program that teaches business owners how to attract more clients, generate more leads, and increase revenue, all while building a bigger bottom line. Well, that's pretty awesome. Scott has been featured on Inc.com, ABC, NBC, Fox, and Business Innovators. Scott is speaking style. He's high energy, and you'll find out today he's full of passion. He speaks to organizations 10xing your business. Success is an inside job, becoming more productive on purpose, and the list goes on. He is exciting to talk to. He is passionate, and he is full of energy. And today, that's kind of funny because we're going to talk about how to become passionate about your passion, and he's really qualified to talk on that. So welcome our guest. So, hey, Scott, I am so excited for you to be with us today, and I know that we talked a little bit earlier about, one of the things that you're passionate about, and that's being passionate about being passionate. So I'm just glad that you're going to be sharing that with us today.
Yeah, I'm fired up to be here. Thanks, Dave. I'm excited to share any tactics, strategies, or anything else that we want to talk about here on the show with your listeners.
Cool. Like we said earlier, you're a business and marketing strategist in your intro. And how did you get involved in that? Started out.
I was for about 19 years. I was in the sales world, and if you even take a step back from there, I always wanted to make a lot of money, but frankly, I didn't know what I really wanted to do. I was one of those younger kids that did not have an idea of what they wanted to do. I liked the nice things, and I thought that was success, which I still believe that's some form of success. But I went to college and got out of college, and like I said, 19 years in sales and leadership. And then, I call it the nudge or the itch or the poke, that God, the universe, Buddha, whoever you dig the most. For me, it's God, and God kept nudging me towards this thing called coaching or speaking. I just didn't know how, and I really didn't know that you can really become a coach for a living, frankly. And then took one step after another, and people always would ask me or say to me, Scott, you ask these amazing deep questions and you really are analytical, but then you're also very visionary, and you like to help people and guide people and strategize. And I always liked business, and I always liked sales, and kind of mixing that with this thing called coaching is just something that I ran with. And when I first got started, I became a I got certified under the John Maxwell Leadership Group. So I got certified that way. And then for about a year, I did the leadership stuff, which I really liked. But I really wanted to help the business owner rather than a company. Although I was good at the training piece of it, and I still love the training piece of it, I really wanted to help the entrepreneur, the business owner, to what I call turn the lights back on, in their business, to help them get to the next level of success. Because I'm just a big believer that, it sounds maybe kind of corny, but, we only get this thing called life once. There are no redos. And why not become the best version of yourself in order to do that and have the kind of business or have the kind of life that you truly, truly want to have? So that was my real quick kind of a Cliff Notes version of how I got to be where I got to be.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, because I think that a lot of times, we don't follow the paths that, they're pointed before us, and we try to go into too many different directions. And that was really cool that, God grabbed you and said, put you in that direction, and now you're in a position where you get to help tons of people,
right?
Get to become their best, which I think a lot of times in the back of our minds, we really want to become our best, but we really don't know how to do that.
Well, and for me, I always say to people, if you have something that continues to pop up, something that I call it again, that itch, continued for me, and I didn't really know. I would get into these sales jobs and I would do well in them, but I would always think that there had to be more, and I didn't know what that was at the time, but I knew I there had to be more. I was put on this earth to do bigger things. Again, I had no clue what that meant. I just knew that as I was going through my day or going through my job and doing my job, I would always be in the bookstore. Back when the bookstores were around, in Barnes and Noble and Borders, and literally, without fail, spending hours and hours and hours on a daily and sometimes even weekly basis or even a daily basis in the personal development, the psychology section, kind of feeding my mind, and I call it. I didn't know where that would lead, but it's interesting now that I coach business owners and help entrepreneurs. All of the stuff that I was doing while I was trying to find out what my true path was and what my calling was has now, interestingly enough, led me to what I do for a living. And all that pre-work, when I look back on it, is exactly that. It was the pre-work setting me up to exactly where I need to be at the exact time I needed to be at it.
It's like planting the seeds. And I think Dan Kennedy put it really so apropos years ago. And I heard him say, if you just spend 1 hour a day, becoming better at what you are, he says, you will become the expert.
That's right.
And
that's right.
But we look at as business owners and whoever, we look at successful people and we see the tip of the iceberg. We don't see the bottom of the mountain that they all had to climb up to get there.
That's right.
And that's your daily venue into the bookstore and reading all those books. And I have to ask you this one question because how many books, when you were buying books in a bookstore, have you bought that you had already read, but because they had a different cover, you bought them again?
That's a good question. I don't know. I got to tell you, I was kind of, yeah, I know you're going.
Yeah, I've done that, and I'm going, and I get into the first few words, and I'm going, I already read this book. It's a new book.
Well, as Tony Robbins says, repetition is the mother of skill, so Good for you. But, I was I guess I was one of those cheapskates. I mean, I did buy books, but I also would check. I would also grab books off the bookshelf and spend about 4 hours a night. And then I would buy some of them sometimes, but frankly, I would just kind of return them back to their shelves and then come back the next day. Because while this was all happening, I was also, I think this is a good segue into, there's going to be times in everybody's life. And like you, I have a really successful entrepreneurial and business podcast called Success Hackers. And I've had the fortune really of interviewing some of the biggest entrepreneurs in the country and even frankly, even in the world. And every single one of them, because I have a question on the show and I say, what's your fail forward moment? Uh-huh. And every single one of them asked me, well, which failure do you want me to tell you about?
Right.
So there wasn't just one, there was multiple. Looking back on my time when I was going through all of this, there was also a time when, I had like $300 in my bank account and I didn't know which end was up and I didn't really know where I was supposed to be and what I was supposed to do. And so I didn't really have a lot of money, frankly, to invest in a lot of books. So that was my out, was spending, $1.50 on some tea or a coffee and spending 3.5 hours and just taking notes and taking notes and taking notes. And again, I didn't know what that meant. And I would always, look up to the heavens and say, when is this going to map out for me? And sure enough, it's amazing how great the universe is and how great life is, because those things truly, 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 even though I didn't know that was meant to be at the time, is exactly what I needed to do. And I always tell them other business owners or people that I speak to on stage in front of, if you're going through your time, your stuff, and you feel like you're challenged or stuck, and you feel like, man, is this all there is? The reality of it is this. Look at it differently. And life and business is all perspective in my eyes.
Right.
Some people might look at something as a failure. I use it as course correction, right? So rather than look at something as a failure or why is this all happening to me, spin it around, look for the good, look for the silver lining, look for what you're supposed to learn from that, and I'm doing air quotes, from that failure. And when you start having a different perspective on life, the old saying is life is like a boomerang. When you throw a boomerang, it comes back to you. What you put out comes back to you. I really, truly believe that. You call it law of attraction or whatever you want to call that. I believe that it's boded well for me in my personal life and in my financial life, and it's going to continue to bode well, because, again, I'm not being a Pollyanna to think that it's just all sunshine and rainbows.
Oh no, it's
you're just going to be freaking down days, man. You want to feel like giving up. But it's in that fire, right? It's in that picking yourself up that you really learn the most about what you're made of.
Yeah. No, I know, because it's, I just know it's like, and when you go through a bad experience and you're going, you know that there's a lesson there, but at that point you just say, I really don't want to learn that right now.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Or how do I get through this as fast as possible? I go, Lord, I know you give me this problem, but help me get through it as fast as I can. I'm ready. I'm ready and willing for the next problem, but just let's move forward. So you're real passionate, and I know we're going to talk about being passionate with your passion, and I know that I think a lot of guys they get into the normal everyday stuff, and they forget. I think you would probably say they forgot about the why. They just do the do now.
Yep.
Would that be a good way to put it? Yeah,
that's a great way to put it. I like that.
So, what's your synopsis on how to become more the passion? What are some of the ways that have helped you? Because you're a naturally passionate guy, right?
Well, yeah, no, not exactly. I think that it's interesting. That's an interesting question, and I think we can spend hours on this one question alone, because I think it's so important. And I think what you're asking is how to get re-inspired.
Right.
Right? How do you get remotivated if you're going through and it feels like Groundhog Day sometimes? And here's what I would suggest to anybody that feels like they're stuck or they plateaued, and I want to get reinvigorated. This is going to be an interesting answer, but I would give you two answers, actually. Number one is find something outside of work. Find something outside of work that inspires you. So that might be not a direct answer to the question, but I think in a way it is, because a lot of times Groundhog Day does kick in. You get up the same time, you have the same breakfast, you see the same people, you do the same type of business, you leave work at the same time, you take the same way home, you eat the same dinners, same 3 to 5 dinners, and then you watch the same TV shows, and then you do it all over again, kind of, sort of, all the time. So, and it's funny that we're talking about this, because I just had a conversation with one of my clients prior to being on your show here, and I offered the exact same advice: is go join something, go do something else outside of your norm. I don't care what it is. If it's going to join a book club, if it's going to go to a different gym, if it's going to take a different path during your running, whatever it is, do something, anything that's different, that's outside of your comfort zone. Right. So that can mean anything, right? We can go so many different directions in that. But suggestion one is do something different outside of what you're normally doing.
Well, don't they say that, a rut is just a way to build, to dig your grave?
What is that?
That's a rut. Say the longer you stay in a rut, you're actually, digging your grave because you keep running deeper and deeper and deeper. Yeah,
and it goes back to what people, you and your listeners, we've all heard the saying, which is, you want to become comfortable being uncomfortable.
Right? One of my favorite sayings,
Yeah, but now so for a lot of people it's a saying. But if you really want to put this into use, really take that and use it. So obviously, if you're right now in your day-to-day life, you're comfortable doing the things we just talked about.
Right.
Well, if you want to become becoming comfortable being uncomfortable, do something different. Go join a club. Go join a book club. Go do whatever. Go take a look. Whatever it is that you're going to do, it's going to reinvigorate the rest of your life, including a la your business. The second thing you talked about in terms of kind of remotivating is very simple. Set bigger goals. So what I mean by that is, now that sounds obvious. Well, okay, if I want to hit $1 million in revenue, let's go for $1.5 million. Right. I'm saying let's go for 10 million.
So you want to 10x everything.
Well, I mean, I just use that now. It could be 5x, whatever the thing is. Automatically, your brain says you're not worthy. Right? There's no way.
Yeah. You can do that. Yeah.
There's no way you can do that. Well, the reality of it is this. If you really want to get reinvigorated again, is not only set a goal, but go set maybe even a materialistic goal. So, for example, let's say you're driving a Camry and a stretch for you is a Lexus. Set some huge, massive goal that at the end of that carrot stick is something that you can actually tangibly touch. Maybe it's a trip with your family. Maybe it's a new car for yourself. But actually tie an actual physical thing, or whether it's a trip, a car, whatever, to the end of the goal. Because otherwise what happens is January rolls around, March rolls around, and all of a sudden we got these goals, but we're not inspired by them. And the reason why we're not inspired by them because we set a goal 3.5% more than what we did last year, and we hope and pray we hit it.
That's keeping up with inflation almost.
Yeah, it's not even fun. It doesn't even get you out of bed jumping, right? And then I guess kind of a bonus to that is to get re-inspired, ask yourself this question. Who can I help today? Now that's going to sound like, Mother Teresa talking, right? But the reality of it is this. When you take the onus off of you always and you say, how many people can I inspire and help today? Mm-hmm. That can open you up to a lot of different things in your business. So the short answer is, well, if you're obviously a contractor and you typically deal with a set of clients every day, if you ask yourself, who can I serve today? How many people can I help today? Well, that's automatically going to have your brain think, wait a second, I'm currently doing business with 5 or 10 clients. But if the question is, how many people can I help today?
Right.
That opens up the parameters to more than 10 clients. That means I got to go out and talk to more people. That's going to excite me more about my business. And that means I'm going to help them potentially with our products or services.
That's awesome. Yeah. Yeah, it gives you a whole different perspective on your
100%.
thinking. On your thinking, yeah.
Exactly.
That's pretty awesome. Yeah, so it's just getting past yourself.
Yeah, I mean, again, to get kind of, I call it jacked up, to get fired up, to get enthusiastic, and the other, challenge yourself. I mean, it's interesting that you're having this conversation because this past year I challenged myself that. I did some speaking events the past few years at little groups here, little groups there. And I made it a point this year. I said, I'm going to stretch goal. I'm going to speak to 15 organizations in 2017. And that was I think I did 2 or 3 the year before. So this was a massive stretch goal. So outside of my day-to-day coaching of what I do with my clients, this was something that not only could be a lead generation for me in my business, but it's also going to sharpen my axe around speaking, which I love to do. So I just put that goal out there. I wasn't sure how I was going to do it, but the goal was out there. And sure enough, I think as of, where we're at today, it's right around, I think 13 or 14 different groups that I spoke to, and I just landed a huge speaking event next year in 2018. That's going to pay me arguably 3 times, 4 times that I've ever been paid in any speaking event. And again, not because I'm so amazing, it's because I set the intention,
Right.
and then let my brain go to work.
Right. Yeah, that's kind of cool because you didn't say, well, I can't do that. You said, this is what I want to get done, and it's amazing what happens, the doors that open because you just made that verbal commitment.
Well, and kind of along those lines, is interestingly enough, I have one of my clients is a general contractor. He does primarily residential, but he also does some commercial in the city that I'm in. And he was doing about maybe 7 figures last year, and the goal was to do a lot more this year. We just ran the numbers, and he's up $700,000 in 2017 versus 2016.
Wow, that's awesome.
Part of that, yes, probably, I'm sure it's, frankly, some of the coaching that I provided for him and the accountability and putting together the game plan that we put together. But again, putting this massive intent out there to say, I don't know how I'm going to hit $2 million in revenue or whatever the number is for your listeners, but say, let's just put this massive goal out there, but not just to put it out there, but what can we tie to that? Is it a trip for the whole company? Is it a trip for my family? If we hit that, what's that going to be tied to? Because then here's what's exciting. And I always share this with my clients. Let's say you want to hit a specific revenue number as an example. And if you have a family, tie your kids to this, tie your wife to this, tie your husband to this, so that they're checking up on you on a friendly basis to say, hey, Dad, did you close more business today?
Yeah.
How's business coming along, Dad?
Dad, we going on that trip?
Yeah, how's it coming along, Dad?
I'm ready for that
totally.
trip.
It makes it more fun. Totally.
Oh, it does. That's so cool. Yeah, to just think about that, different perspectives, and I like the whole point about just getting, like we said a little bit earlier. You got to think about other people and get past the normalcy of what things are, and really, I love the 5x, the 10x, because you're really making your brain. It's sort of like giving it that electric shock. Okay, how do we do this? I don't know, but something will happen. We'll figure out how to do it.
Yeah, and you know what? Like I said before, stretching yourself or getting outside of your comfort zone. So as an example, maybe in the construction world, you're used to doing business one way, as an example. But what if you were to say, even though this is going to sound radical and oh my God, I can't believe you said that, but what if, besides doing your day-to-day business activities in any business, what if you said, and again, it has to make sense a little bit for your industry, but what if you were to do a weekly video? And again, I'm going to stay on the construction world. And you're a general contractor, and you're coming out with a weekly video, and you can do it off your iPhone, you can do it in your house, whatever. It doesn't mean anything spectacular. You're coming up with home improvement tips every week, and you're going to actually set it up, upload it on YouTube, and then you start a YouTube channel, and then you send that YouTube channel, you send that video on your Facebook page every week, every Monday or every Thursday, and then you also now have a YouTube channel, and then maybe you start to create some other things. Before you know it, your mundane day-to-day type of business activity just got infused with a spark. And who the hell knows where it's going to lead? But I've done this with my clients that they kind of shook their heads at me and said, there's no way. People in my industry don't do that. And sure enough, they thought outside the box. They did that. And they started to get more clients, and they started to have more fun.
And today, in today's marketplace, because it is so stinking competitive, you have to go beyond normal.
That's right.
Matter of fact, it's kind of funny you said that, because the other day I was doing some things for I have a painting contracting business. So I went to my paint store that I usually do business with. I said, here's what we want to do. I want to come in here and I'm going to shoot about 20 videos, 1-minute videos, talking about the store and all the challenges that homeowners go through when they walk through the paint store on what to buy and why to buy it. And we'll put that up on our website.
That's great.
And I says, and it'll be advertising you guys on
Exactly.
why we
It's
do
great.
business with you. So they said, okay, that's cool. Just don't talk to us. I said, nah, that doesn't work that way.
We know better.
Yeah, we know better. I'll get you in there somehow or another.
Right. That's great.
Oh, cool. This has been so awesome. Is there any last thing that's in the back of your mind that you wanted to share, but we just haven't reached yet?
No, I would say again, I mean, I learned a long time ago, and it's a saying. I call it the bumper sticker. It sounds good, but when you really, really understand what I'm about to say, it's so true that 70% of success, maybe even higher, but we'll say 70% of success is psychology.
Right.
30% is tactics and strategies and all that. So that tells you right there that 70% of your overall success in your business, your next step, your next revenue, your next profit, whatever that is, comes down to the mindset that you have around what's possible.
Right.
So it's very simple. You say, well, okay, how do I know if I'm on track, Scott? Because I get that question a lot. The answer is, back when we were in school, in grade school, we had what's called a report card. So that was our check and balance. How are we doing? Well, Mom and Dad, I'm really doing good. I'm showing up. No, just show me the report card. That's how we can determine, little Johnny, if you're doing well or not, right? That's
right.
the score. Today, it's what's the bank account? What's the P&L statement? But what's the true bank account? How much are you taking home with you at the end of the day? So if you're making X dollars, whatever that is, but you want to make Z dollars, yes, there's probably some strategies and some tactics that need to be, that the skill sets need to be there to grow. But you also need to develop your mindset so that you're the kind of person that can attract the Z dollars.
Right.
And I think a lot of people miss that. They think, well, I just got to work harder. That's not the case.
No.
I know a lot of people working 25 hours a week, making $1 million or more easily,
Yep.
and they're loving life. So it's not, do I have to dig the ditch harder and grip it tighter and work longer and work 5 jobs? It's not that. It's working smarter, but using personal development, honing your skills, listening to YouTube videos, listening to podcasts like this one, sharpening your axe, doing all those things that you don't want to do because you feel comfortable where you're at. It's, again, being comfortable, being uncomfortable, and trying new things to grow yourself and saying, what can I do today so that I'm better today than I was yesterday?
Right. Yeah, that's one of the keys. It's just because you have to, give yourself permission to succeed. And just because you make X amount of dollars, you want to make Y, does not necessarily mean you're going to get there.
Right.
Until you actually give yourself permission and believe that's an attainable goal. Because, there's some guys, like I was sitting in a meeting with a guy once, and the reason he was there is because there's a big mastermind roofer for roofers and stuff, and he goes, so they asked everyone why they were there, and he said, I can't get past $5 million a year in revenue, no matter what I do. And he goes, I know a lot of people would be happy with that, but I'm not, and I really want to grow. So, they laid out a plan for him that, yeah, there are things that you need to do to get past where you are, and it's in so many different areas too, different levels. So it's
right.
a continual growth process. You have never
Without
arrived.
a doubt.
Wow, that's really awesome. So, Scott, how can our listeners get in touch with you?
Well, I would love to. It's been such a great show, and I appreciate everything, Dave, that you're doing for the community and for everybody. And you're doing stuff outside of the box that's quote unquote normal, which I love, and I think it's amazing. So I appreciate you having me on. I would suggest to anybody that's listening that's a business owner, which I'm sure a lot of your listeners are.
Yeah.
One of the things that I'm offering right now is what I call a business breakthrough session. So a lot of business owners, and frankly, my general contractor is probably my best client that I have right now that I've been working with for over a year and have helped him get so much success. Most business owners don't know what a coaching session is, or they hear about it, but they're not sure what it is. So what I would like to offer for your listeners, these are for the business owner listeners, what I call a 60-minute business breakthrough session. And in this 60 minutes, I'm going to help this individual, the business owner, get past some of the blocks that they might have, help them actually put together literally a 12-month business growth plan on how to increase sales and grow revenue.
Wow.
It's normally a $2,000 purchase price, but I would waive the fee completely. So I would offer that as a scholarship, completely free. And all they would have to do is go to this website. It's called 60 Minute Breakthrough. So 60, spelled out 60minutebreakthrough.com, and they can sign up, and I'll send them directions and information, and pretty simple.
Cool. That's so awesome.
Sure.
I really appreciate that for our
No
listeners.
worries.
Thanks. So it's been a real pleasure. I'm so excited I got a chance to meet you and talk with you.
Yeah.
And, it's been a lot of fun. And
I've had a lot of fun too, Dave. I appreciate you, and thanks for having me on.
again, I want to thank you for joining us and investing your time with us today. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode, and if you did, go to iTunes and give us a shout out. You can also go to our website, www.contractorsecretweapon.com, and check out today's episode and leave us a comment in the bottom of the page. And if you haven't gotten your 15 secret weapon strategies to getting higher-end customers, get it while you're at the website. Also, I want to thank again our sponsors for keeping this podcast alive, for your profit-making pleasure. And so go be profitable this week. Work smarter, not harder, and learn how to leverage your time and your knowledge so that you can be more profitable. Again, see you next week.
Thanks for joining us for another weekly episode of the Contractor's Secret Weapon Podcast with Dave Negri. We would love to hear your comments about this episode, so visit us online at www.contractorsecretweapon.com and let us hear your thoughts. If you were listening via iTunes, please leave us a positive review. The more positive reviews we receive, the more other contractors will benefit from this show. Thank you, and see you next time here on the Contractor's Secret Weapon Podcast.